Trip left, just on the left side of the line. Wentz takes the shotgun snap. Looking left, and is going to run for it. No, he's going to throw back in the end zone. Caught. Did he get his feet in? He did. Touchdown, Minnesota. The running back, Xavier Scott, in the back right corner of the end zone. Nobody saw him but his quarterback, Carson Wentz, and they connect for 6.
Yeah, another great job by Xavier Scott. I mean, that's an incredible catch by, I know he's a former receiver, but running back. We'll see if he got his feet down.
Yeah, they're showing the replay. That was what the ooh and ah was for. They just showed the replay, and I'm not sure that right toe was in.
Yeah, every scoring play is reviewed, so they'll take a look at this, see if both feet were in. It looks like he's good. He's got white cleats on, so if you see any yellow there, I see a little bit of yellow next to that right foot. I think he's going to get away with it.
Spoken like a former Viking there, but I think you're right. They're showing us all the different angles now of Xavier Scott's toe tap at the back of the end zone, and the Vikings are going for 2. 24-12 the score now after that 6-point hookup between Wentz and Scott. Wentz is empty. 3 to his right, 2 to his left. Mason coming back now, settling on Wentz's right hip. Jefferson in motion, right to left in front of Wentz. Wentz looking for him, back left corner of the end zone. It's Jalen Naylor, who makes a reception extremely similarly to Xavier Scott's touchdown catch on the other side of the end zone. So the Vikings with 8 right there, cutting the lead to 10. 24-14 now. Pittsburgh clinging to this 10-point lead. 7:50 to go in the first NFL regular season game here in Dublin, Ireland. Xavier Scott, the touchdown. Jalen Naylor, the 2-point conversion. We got a ball game here at Croke Park in Dublin. You're listening to the NFL on Westwood One.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
We are a championship school, and school is in session.
Makes a catch, makes them bang into each other, stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, scores!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide take on Vanderbilt at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to the Alabama Football Recap Show with Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton. Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue. Ain't nothing like 'em nowhere. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew and Steve.
3 wideouts right, single setback is jammed to the left of Ty. Operating from the pistol, brings Jeremy in motion to the near side, leaving 2 to his right. Looking, firing, touchdown! Jeremy Bedard on the slant, and Alabama gets on the board first. Simpson operating under center for Brailsford. Play action, rolls the pocket right. Looking, firing, caught, touchdown Alabama! Isaiah Horton, wide open, back of the end zone. The second 6-yard touchdown pass of the night from Ty Simpson, and the Tide leads it 13-0.
Those would be the only calls that I would get from Learfield as we welcome you into this Sunday morning edition of the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Snakes playing hurt today as I rolled in at 4:30 this morning. Drew DeArmond, I'm going to have to lean on you a little bit more, but I will tell you it was a beautiful night weather-wise. Wait a second, Drew. Unmute your microphone, please.
Okay, are we good now?
Yes, we're good now.
Yeah.
We're good now.
I feel like Alabama's run defense.
Yeah. Listen, that was an important win. Obviously, a very important win. But that game just felt weird to me.
It was a weird football game, Steve. It was very, very weird.
I
said the same thing the entire second half when, as soon as, Connor Talty yanked the field goal.
Yeah.
And then I knew what was coming. I knew Georgia was going to come with an avalanche. And it just really felt like a weird football game. It was actually surreal to me that Alabama still had the lead in the fourth quarter with a chance to win.
Yeah.
I mean, because I thought really they got their ass handed to them the entire second half.
Well, if a certain wide receiver from the University of Georgia catches the football, then Bama is trailing.
Well, it was in the third quarter.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, they targeted the freshman and but Alabama and Georgia both dropped touchdown passes. But unlike Georgia, Alabama still scored on their drive.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia followed on the next play with another. They tried to run a middle screen. Alabama defended it well for once, and it ended up being a drop, and Georgia had to punt the football. But I will say, I do think that if he had caught the ball and Alabama finally trailed in the game, that Alabama was going to be in big trouble because they didn't find their rhythm offensively until the second half of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And so there would have been almost a quarter and a half to play, and Alabama, they do a good job of front running, and they did in this game when they got the lucky break. But, of course, I thought Kirby a couple of times. One time he got a lucky break because I thought it was stupid when he went for it on fourth down in the first half. I thought he should have kicked it to make it 17-10.
Yes.
But Alabama, Zabian Brown panicked. No need to hold the guy, but he held, got caught. Kirby gets a first down, and he gets bailed out, and they score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So that's forgotten. Then he decided to gamble again in the fourth quarter when he could have tied it at 24 and went for it on fourth down and decided to hurry up and run the play and gave it to Cash Jones. And for once, Alabama's run defense showed up, and LT Overton made a great play. And that's when I thought, well, maybe – I still knew it was a long way to go. I thought maybe Alabama's got a chance because if they could, and then it looked like they might drive down and make it 31-21. But to Georgia's credit, they denied Alabama and turned them away. And then that's when Alabama had the brain fart. Like if I could tell that fourth down play. First of all, you got to be able to make a 3rd and 1.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
But on the fourth down call, to me, that where they got stuffed, I could tell that was discombobulated.
I did ask Kalen DeBoer about that fourth down, but please.
Yeah, and I saw the answer there, but look.
And honestly, I mean, I got your text about asking for a timeout.
Yeah.
It honestly just went out of my brain. So my apologies right there.
I thought they should have just called a timeout.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big play in the game. And to me, I thought on the 3rd and 1, they should have just snuck it and got the first down. Run up to the line, snuck it, get it.
That's what I thought they were going to do.
And
not only that, but if you really, and I was looking at it through my binoculars, there was a lane to his left where there was an open gap where it was screaming for a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, I just thought the play call was terrible. It looked like it was all maybe even supposed to be a handoff. I think he did say it was supposed to be Ty running, but like I said, man, I just thought that the play call was terrible, and they should have called timeout. And then when they got stuff there, I really thought, that Georgia was going to take control and win the ball game. And forgive me, Steve, was the drop for Georgia after that or before it? I thought it was before.
Right before
I
that.
think it was. And then
before that. I'm just going off my memory.
And then I was thinking to myself, well, they gave Georgia the ball right back. Yeah. And so Georgia's going to take this ball, run it, 3 or 4 times and take the lead, and Alabama's done for. But they, like I said, man, they ended up that Georgia ran that. I don't know what they were doing on that third down play, throwing the ball backwards. Some of Bobo's calls, I was like, what is that?
Yeah,
I mean, especially on third and long. And then they called the illegal shift anyway. And then, but I will say this: Georgia got a big horse collar call against them.
Yeah, and that was an obvious one.
On that third down, on that illegal shift, it was almost offsetting because Dijon Lee came this close to jerking him down, but he took his hand out of the shoulder pad and then just made the tackle. Because
there was a handful of pass interferences that were not called in that game.
Yeah, I thought there was one on a third down play to Isaiah Horton. It looked like it was. I didn't really think that with the Jerm Bernard in the end zone. I just thought that was kind of a bang call. I didn't really raise Cain about that. You're not going to call it every time, but I did think the one on the sideline to Isaiah Horton, it went off his helmet. I thought they should have called that one.
Can we have a real discussion about targeting? Can we please have a real discussion about targeting moving forward?
Well, I'll just say this, and this shows I'm not a complete homer. I would have ejected James Smith.
I'm not saying it to the letter of the law. Yes, that is targeting. Now, when targeting was first created, I want to say about 7 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. I get it. I understand it. Health and safety. But honestly, these guys now, you can tell that they have been taught this. If there's malice intent, you can see it. We can all see it. But
But I'm just saying you can't put your head down and use it as a weapon. And he just basically had
But to get suspended for the first half of the next game,
I don't like that part. That's what I want changed. I mean, look, just make targeting another form of personal foul.
Yeah, exactly.
And stop ejecting players, okay? To me, that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. And then I'll be honest with you, though. Robinson for Georgia, they called him for a 15-yard penalty, but that should have been targeting.
That's exactly where Rosebud.
Right there in the head, and they did nothing.
That's exactly where Rosebud.
I mean, they did call the 15-yard penalty, but his ass should have been ejected for the first half of the next game because his helmet led and hit Germ right in, and it was a stupid penalty, by the way, totally needless. And he's over there smiling. If I was one of his teammates, I would have jab slapped him and said, "You ought to be fined a game check, you clown. Way to blow the game." But whatever.
As for at least the positives, Ty Simpson, Ty Simpson that felt like a grown-up game for him in a big way. I realized there was a few timeouts that were called early that it at least made me wonder whether or not everybody was on the same page. But
that's the coaching staff. That's coaching. That's not Ty. Ty was having to try to get everybody on the same page. I thought
that was a big game for Ty.
I mean, I thought he handled himself great.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to burn some timeouts early, but at least they scored on both those drives, you can say.
Yeah.
And then they managed the rest of the half without the timeouts. The second half, I thought he did a good job. Georgia, they changed some stuff up. They did a good job taking the runaway all day, but Alabama found a way to manufacture some yards by attacking the edges with Germ and Ryan Williams. I liked that part of it. I thought it was creative. But I'll be honest, this Alabama team's just not going to be a dominant running team. It's just not, at least not with this group. I think Jam is a good back, but I think AK Deer's the most talented. He's just not ready yet.
Yeah.
To give them what you would call the chunk runs, where you're talking about breaking something for
difference
45, 50, 60, 70 yards.
Yeah.
They don't really have that. And then I thought it was interesting. I thought Kevin Riley did a good job, but when you looked at it, Alabama once
Bless you.
Thank you. Once they got Jam back, they went from a 4-back team to, and sometimes even 5 to 2. I mean, They did play some of those other backs on special teams, but I'm talking about in the game offensively.
Yeah.
It was the Jam and Riley show.
That's it.
And and I thought Riley did a solid job. And I did think they threw to the back some, which is like long handoffs, because I've tried to tell people this is not going to be Nick Saban where you see them where they're able to, run for 250 yards and run the ball off tackle and run the ball, on inside zones really well at times. This team and this staff, they're going to have to be creative. They're going to have to do some different things with the wide receivers, attack the edges. And then I did think late in the game, Alabama finally did start getting some movement because I think Georgia got a little tired.
They did. And that surprised me a little bit. It did.
And then I thought, Alabama to close it out. They were. I do think I wish Ty had pulled on the zone read on the second down play because I thought he had the edge there. But
you think?
Even then, on the third down play, 3rd and 5, it was a great call.
Yeah,
because it was a misdirection, and all you had to do, because Kirby had stupidly burned a timeout before the 2-minute warning. And I do think Kirby got out coached last night. I thought for most of the game, he did make his usual good adjustments, but in some key moments, he got out coached. And then I don't know whether it's like I called it on X. I don't know if it's the boogeyman. I don't know what it is, but he just seems to go brain dead when he plays against Alabama. And then it was a great call to Jam, and then Jam did the right thing. Just take the knee and the game's over.
Yep.
All you got to do is just, down the football. I mean, Georgia's good, really good, but
are they as good as they were last year? I
don't see it.
I don't think so.
I don't see it. And I think they were better on defense last year. I don't see any pass rushers.
They're sure as hell better than Kentucky.
Now,
they've got Kentucky this week. Of course, Alabama has Vanderbilt, but there was one series in particular that stood out to me offensively for Alabama. It was late third quarter, setting up at your own 8. You go pass, and it turns into a punt, which I thought they were going to at least try to run the football. And that series, listen, I know hindsight's always 20/20.
I think you're talking about maybe the second possession of the third quarter. I believe it was after Georgia had scored to make it 24-21, I believe.
It occurred at the 2:52 mark of quarter number 3.
Oh, okay.
It was a 3 and out. Really, it was their only 3 and out. Wait a second. Yeah, they're only 3 and out. And it just surprised me that they went pass. And
I'll be honest. They were having trouble. They were getting 2 yards a carry. And, and Ty's their best player. And they have good receivers, but to the credit Georgia, they started taking away a lot of the shorter stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought a couple of the calls they made were going to work. Like Georgia did a really good job. I believe it was in it was either at the end of the first half or the start of the second, but they called a screen to Jam Miller, which had been working all night long.
Yeah.
And Georgia made a great tackle for a 2-yard loss because it's like a run. I thought they had caught Georgia again, but Georgia did a really good job of turning that play into a loss. And that may have been actually the first drive of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then that ended up helping Georgia hold them to a field goal attempt, which they yanked. But, I just thought Georgia put a lot of game pressure on them in the second half. I didn't see a lot of adjustments from Alabama's coaching staff per usual. And I did see some more grit. I thought they did fight, and keep fighting in the game. But, you have to have a little luck to pull off one of these. And Alabama got some because Georgia dropped a touchdown. And then I thought Georgia made a couple of calls. One, they got, again, in the first half, they got the penalty they needed to still score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But just to hurry up and give it to Cash Jones, of all people, I thought that was a stupid call. I really thought they should have just took the points, tied it, and kept putting the pressure on Alabama.
That's what I thought they were going to do.
Because Alabama didn't score the whole second half.
That's
so
right.
Just keep putting pressure on them and see if they crack. Because Alabama would have had to put a drive together to score some kind of points, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. And you'd already seen the kicker yank his last one. So, to me, I'm putting game pressure on them, and that's where I thought Kirby got out coached. But it's still a big win for Alabama. They've improved quite a bit since the Florida State debacle. But I'm just going to say it. They don't have a championship caliber defense. They don't have a championship caliber defensive coaching staff. I think they've got a G5 defensive coaching staff who doesn't teach very well. They don't take great angles. They don't have great gap integrity. I'll just say this. They play hard, but they don't play smart. Okay. And they gave up a ton of rushing yards. Georgia just bludgeoned Alabama. They got, I think, 5 carries of over 20 yards.
Yeah.
And at least 3 of them probably could have been less than 10 if you just play the right angle and are fundamentally sound. But they're not. And if they don't get their head out of their ass, Vanderbilt will hand it to them next Saturday. Because I'm telling some right now, I said it last night, Vanderbilt may be better than Georgia.
No. I don't think there's.
They're not better on defense, but they're better offensively.
I
think
Vanderbilt's a better team than Georgia.
But I will say, I do think their defense, Vanderbilt's, is better than last year. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps talking about they gave up 35 to Utah State. So I don't think they're as good as Georgia.
Yeah.
But they're not bad. They are not bad, so you better not underestimate them, okay? And so,
if you really, I've not taken a look at the Vanderbilt Utah State game yet, but to get scared like that out of the gate does something to a team. You know it, and I know it. It just does something to you, and they certainly have the confidence of beating Alabama last year as well. I know it's a different team, different year, all of that, but what I've seen out of Vanderbilt is they generally do have some slow starts, but then they'll kick it into gear halfway through the second quarter. And
that's what they did to Utah State because it was 14-7. They were losing.
Well, it happened at Virginia Tech. Yep. It happened at South Carolina.
This offense this year is much more explosive because they can throw it better.
Yeah,
and they run the ball well.
I think Vanderbilt's better than Georgia.
And their offensive scheme is the worst matchup for Alabama because you have to stay home. You've got to you got to play with your eyes. And again, you better not turn it over.
Gunner, who would you rather have, Diego Pavia or Gunner Stockton?
Diego Pavia all day long.
Mean, it's
and I don't think Gunner's a bad player.
I'm not trying to sit here and say that he's a horrible quarterback,
but Diego's a better runner and he's improved as a passer. So Alabama better be ready to go. By the way, game day is coming to Tuscaloosa. So, and I know some people are probably listening to this show rolling their eyes. You need to get your head out of your butt. Stop looking at the V on their helmet and understand how good they are.
Yeah.
And give them respect. Alabama better play their best game, and they better be ready to go, or they're going to get embarrassed like they did last year. And I don't have a lot of confidence in this defensive coaching staff to get them ready to play.
That's what I had a lot of defensive questions in particular, and unfortunately, when I was in the post-game locker room. You've been there more than I've been there. They just rushed everybody in.
Yep.
I got we do need to talk about Proctor's little wide receiver.
The biggin.
I also got Ty as well as Jam, but I wasn't able to talk to any defensive players. But I wanted to at least get into the mind of this defense of adjustments and the gap integrity in particular is.
You saw the holes. And the lanes. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
At one point, Georgia was averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Ooh. That's fireable. I'm sorry. This ain't Jack State. No disrespect. This ain't South Alabama. Your ass better be better than that. And Georgia's first touchdown. What were they doing on that series? They had no safety help, and they just and then Damani Jackson acted like he was constipated and just let Colby Young run straight past him. I'm telling you, Damani Jackson
did Gunner pump fake there? I don't remember.
He just saw the coverage and threw it. And
the only reason I asked, I was sitting next to Charlie Potter, and he said he pump fake, but I was like,
I don't think he pump faked. I think he looked, and I think he just said
maybe just anticipated the wrong thing right there.
He may have slightly hesitated, but I don't think it was a pump fake. And then he saw how wide open he was, and all he had to do was lay it out. Because I was like, "What is going on?" Of course, Kane Womack's over there. That's on me. That's on me. You're dang right. This whole game plan's on you because It's just unsound. And I tried to tell everybody, I told you Tim Keenan would play a lot of snaps, by the way.
Yes, you did. Boy, he played a ton of snaps.
But I told you that it wouldn't make that big a difference. Everybody's like, well, you got big Tim Keenan back. Well, they still nearly rushed for 250 yards. Okay? Because, again, the scheme is not good enough. And the coaches aren't coaching guys up well enough at all. And I'm talking about all three levels. Everybody's taking bad angles. Everybody's out of position. Coach the guys the way they're supposed to be coached. And if that's the way you think, get on a bus because you're not good enough. This is Alabama. This is not a group of five school.
Well, you know what? Since we're on defense, let me give some kudos to Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard played really well in this game defensively. Also created a fumble as well in this game. And ultimately, that was the difference in the game because that turned into 3 points.
And I was a little disappointed. I thought Alabama should have turned that into 7.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, man,
short field and everything.
I thought that was the one time where I thought that Ryan Grubb, I wish he had done the Lane Kiffin. Like he ran the ball twice. I wish he had just turned around and thrown the football on first down, move the pocket, throw the ball, because Georgia was having trouble covering Alabama, especially in the red zone. And even if you just threw a one of those little sprint right option routes to a wide receiver, or if you circle jam out of the backfield like a long handoff, I still thought that's what Alabama should have done. I didn't think the play calling was very good on that sequence. But they did get 3 out of it. And Bray made a good hit. It was a form tackle. It was a good run fit. It was one of the very few in the game. There was a handful of good run fits, but there were still just too many big plays given up. And I'm just going to tell you, this Vandy team is even more physical than last year. They're going to come right at you like Georgia did. They're going to watch that film. So your butt better be ready. And, Quay Russaw, he's going to be out, from what I understand, the rest of the regular season with a foot injury. So now Yanze Pierre had to play a ton of snaps because Latham may not be back this year either. So there's your top 2 Wolf gone. Yanze Pierre is going to have to play. True freshman Justin Hill, and then red shirt freshman Noah Carter. Get them ready to play. You've been talking them up all preseason, just like we heard you talking everybody up when you laid an egg against Florida State. Get them ready to play. There is no excuse.
I thought Hill Green, he impressed me at times yesterday as well at the linebacker position there for Alabama. He's, of course, the transfer from Colorado. He's a nice fit there defensively.
He's done a good job. He plays hard. I thought Lawson was okay. I thought Justin Jefferson stunk. I thought he went back to catching people instead of playing downhill. He's going to have to play much better against Vanderbilt. I just think overall. But again, I think part of it's coaching. I mean, I know Chuck Morrell coaches that group. But again, this is not the Pac-12. I'm sorry. They don't play defense the same way in the SEC. That is a fact. I know Tyler Shiskey was on with us on the drive, and he doesn't believe in all that. Well, you have to coach a different way in one league or another. Have they had an adjustment period? I don't care. I know what I see. They've had an adjustment period. This is the big boys. This is not the Pac-12. The quality of coaching in the SEC is a lot better than it is in the Pac-12 overall, especially on defense, okay? No question in my mind, because Tosh Lupoy is the defensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks. And
How about that?
And the guy could not coordinate the defense to save his life with Alabama. It lasted for a month. And then Wild Turkey Pete Golding, who I will give a shout-out to, great job yesterday, and I hope nobody runs off the road when I say this. I would take Wild Turkey back right now instead of Kane Womack.
I'm going to let that simmer for a second.
Just let that simmer for a second. I mean, I'm sorry. This is a truth show. I know Alabama won the game, but Alabama wants to win a national championship, and this is not a national championship caliber defense right now.
I would not even say an SEC championship.
I don't think so. Not unless they get a lot better quickly. And don't give me this crap about UL Monroe and Wisconsin, because neither team's any good. Okay, so if you're going to play a good team, look, man, they beat Georgia. They earned the win.
They did,
but they got some lucky breaks too. All right, and I'm just going to have to say this too, and this is on Kalen DeBoer and Grubb. The offense has got to be better in the second half. You've got to make some adjustments because this team's going to have to score 30 points a game.
Well,
because this defense is not good enough.
So the other factor that I talked about Friday was penalties, and kudos to Alabama in that regard.
The streak is finally over.
4 penalties for 16 yards, and I remember it was, I want to say, very close to halftime, and I was like, "Wow, 2 penalties! This is much improved."
I thought the offensive line played well. They didn't get a lot of those false starts and things of that nature. I thought the pass protection against Georgia was really good.
Yeah,
and the blitz pickups because Georgia blitzed, but Alabama picked it up.
Yep.
And I thought the offensive line played well. Now, they didn't get a ton of creases in the running game, but I'll just say this. They're not going to be a great running team, at least not with this addition right now with the personnel they've got. Okay. They're going to have to continue to try to manufacture rushing yards. But what they can do is they've got a quarterback who's smart, who's very accurate, and they've got really good receivers. And that's what they've got to play to. They got to mix the run in. And I am glad that Grubb stayed patient with it, but you're going to have to throw and catch. And that's why and I will say this, that was another time where I thought they grew some toughness is where, Ryan Williams needs a sack sometimes, keeps body catching.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he made some big catches later in the game.
Yeah.
But when you have a chance to catch a 75-yard touchdown, you've got to make the catch. But again, I thought the play design was good. I mean, they didn't, and some of the run difficulties is Georgia's good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Georgia's well coached defensively. I didn't think they did a bad job of that last night. I just thought just like I'll give Georgia credit for taking Alabama's run away, you got to give Alabama staff credit for scheming up because you and I have talked about this. I thought they could throw on Georgia after what I saw against Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they did. They threw on them. Now, Kirby and them made some adjustments, took some stuff away.
Yeah.
And that's where Alabama's got to get better. They've got to continue to counter, and you may have to make 5 of those run calls. They may have to be swing passes. You may just have to get a little more creative and try to get them outside. And it's like a long handoff, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, adjusting and not just – it may not be a conventional running game. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to have to be a situation where you get the backs of the ball out in space because this is just not a great running football team. Because, again, I think I'm going to go back to something somebody told me in the fall. I mean, when fall camp started. They said, well, I don't know that Alabama has a big-time running back. And I think they might, but he's a true freshman in A.K. Deer. In other words, what he's saying was we got so used to a third-string back under Saban playing 10 years in the NFL or a Brian Robinson being a fullback. It's just not there right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they've got good players, but these guys aren't studs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you have to scheme around
the
that.
workhorse. Yeah.
And then another thing I got tired of hearing last night was, well, Alabama just doesn't have a great pass rushers. Kane Womack has to get creative. Develop some, man! What are you being paid to do? Sorry for yelling, but what are you being paid to do? Develop the guys. I don't want to hear it. You got good players. Develop them and get them to do their job and be the right dang gal.
Recruit different players or get the guys that you need to get in this NIL world of.
I'll be honest. I think they've got some good pass rushers. I think the scheme is taking it away from them. Okay? Because this Mickey Mouse defensive scheme that Alabama's running. I don't care. I'm going to sit here. I tell the truth on this show. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
Do a better job of putting guys in position to make plays.
256-576-4977 is the telephone number. Yeah, again, forgive me. I am playing a little bit hurt as I rolled in at 4:30 this morning. I am going to get to the locker room report. Dadgummit, I'm going to get to the locker room report. It is well earned. Anyway, if you'd like to call in, you can do so. I believe I saw Brandon's number pop up on the screen. Good morning, Brandon. You are on the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ.
Speaking of smoke, that was the run defense.
Yes, it was. And Moulton, I would have loaned you the truck and the camper. That way you didn't have to come back at 4:30.
Well, I mean, I would have had to been back here anyway. So it was just, The fog wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be in the Rome area.
So in this game, and we'll go back to the loss at Florida State, I was not one of the people that said fire DeBoer. I called in and I said, I'm not there. We made a mistake. I felt like the team was not ready then. I felt like the team was ready for this Georgia game, as ready as this staff could get it. Are there still problems? Yes. Do I feel better about DeBoer and Ryan Grubb? Yes, I do. What they need to figure out is their adjustments in the second half. If they can come up with a counter plan, then I feel really good about that side of the ball. This defense, the players are out there doing it, but this guy's in over his head. And at this point, laugh at me if you want to. If I'm Alabama, I'm filing a big lawsuit. I'm hiring Pruitt as an analyst, and I'm bringing him in. And if nothing else, he can ghost run the defense. And I'm saying time served for Pruitt, which would be 5 years after this year, I think, because they gave him a 6-year show cause, and they ought to be willing to settle it for that. But this guy ain't got it. Watching what he does in the run game is just piss poor, and he does not have the ability to get it done. And I'm with Drew. You got to develop people. Some of these guys that played under Pruitt and played under Kirby, yeah, they were good players, but they were also developed within the scheme. And when you're looking up and you obviously see Gunnar Stockton turning around to hand the ball to a running back who is going to come right between center and guard, and nobody goes up to fill that hole. That's an instinctual training thing.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be waiting for a guy to get 5 yards to try to go get him. You got to put a kill shot on a dude and get after him, and you've got to learn to do that with your eyes and with your scheme. And we are not doing that. That was the biggest problem with me on the defense last night, was we weren't doing that. This team has some promise, and it can play pretty good. And I think with the right coaching, it could be even better than it is now. But it really amazed me last night, the amount of clean pockets that Ty Simpson had to drop back in that game. I did not expect that.
I was worried about the pass protection too, Brandon, but I thought it was pretty good. I thought, I thought the big and Caden Proctor, and I even thought, and then they did some different things. Now, I had heard a rumor about this, but it was finally put to fruition last night that they're still like trying to find the right combination at guard. They put Wilkin Formby at guard last night. Yeah. And they're because they rotated Dewberry out. They put Jaden Roberts in for a little bit, and then they had Vandemark in there. But they're trying different combinations, and like I said, I think.
By the way, I did say Swamp Monster in the press box last night, and I got a look next to me of. Excuse me.
They don't listen to the show.
And I said, well, you got to listen to the Bama Recap Show smoked by Dreamland Barbecue.
But the Swamp Monster's been neutered, so he's not even playing that much. So, I mean, and Mike Carroll, he played quite a bit at right tackle, especially when they put Wilkin inside. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward how this offensive line kind of comes into play and how it kind of develops. But I did think for the most part, Brandon, that the O-line played well. Even the running game wasn't great, but I like going in. My benchmark was 150 yards because this is never going to be a dominant running team. They didn't quite hit that.
No, 117.
But they got close.
Well, and I look at on the other side, Georgia looked like with Gunnar Stockton, they completely abandoned the quarterback run.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that either. Well, you know what? I think we all know the answer. It's 4 letters, B-O-B-O.
Okay.
So, I mean.
And I have been wanting to say this, and I'm going to say it. I tried to get Drew to ask, film guy about it the other day. These Georgia fans will never, ever, unless they win an undefeated championship, will never, ever forgive Bobo for not running that ball in South Carolina in 2014.
Yeah.
Never. That's all I heard from those people we were watching the game with. Bobo, I mean, they hate that dude worse than anybody who has ever coached there. Everything that goes wrong is Bobo's fault.
So, Drew and I like to watch a fire burn, for lack of a better term, be it the whiskey and wine with LSU.
I didn't watch it. I should have.
I didn't either. But or tone after Tennessee lost. But I will tell you, I was listening to the post game call-in show for Georgia last night.
Oh,
the amount of people that were calling in saying, Alabama, it's just this thing against Alabama. Can we please just beat Alabama? Well, be better. Then be better. I'll tell you, just be better.
But I had to look at Brooks Austin.
But I really thought about calling you, but it was like 1 a.m.
No, that's when Ryan Fowler called.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I should have called you then.
Because
I was sitting there cackling, going, and this is coming from a Georgia guy, ladies and gentlemen. I really felt like calling Drew saying, you got to tune in to the Georgia post game.
Well, Fowler
it's one call after another.
He's like, I knew you'd be up. And so I was like, and that's when I started going on my rant that I've gone on this show about I wasn't even acting like Alabama won the game. I was more just trying to fire the entire defensive coaching staff.
Brandon, you got anything else for us? We got another caller on hold.
Well, he must have hung up on Sirius XM 84 and called Drew immediately because I listened to him.
Oh, yeah, he was on last night, he said.
Yeah, he called me too.
Yeah.
And I heard some numbers. They said that the screen passes were 9 of 10 for 89 yards.
Wow.
Vanderbilt's going to be looking for that.
Yep.
And Ty Simpson, 35 of 40 clean pockets.
By the way, you're welcome, Alabama Nation. Yeah, you're welcome. I was there. I was covering the game. So, yeah, you're welcome, Alabama.
Well, no, I did get one text from a friend that said, Steve kept the streak alive.
Yeah, you're welcome, Alabama. You're welcome. And I get I got the looks from the two people I used to work with at the Bulldog Radio Network. You again, huh? You again.
And number one for Georgia on the back of his jersey, it should say Tropic Thunder for the rest of the season. Because what that dude was thinking, I have no idea. Like, literally, like, what? And then they don't call that targeting? I mean, you literally dove so high.
I have no idea.
You hit people in the top of the helmet.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean.
Well, like I said, the key for Vanderbilt, for Alabama to win, they didn't turn it over against Georgia. They can't turn it over against Vanderbilt.
Limit the penalties.
They have to limit the penalties, and they got to find a way to get 2 or 3 stops. I don't care if it's a turnover or somehow making them punt.
Because
they got to find a way.
Right now set it. Over, under, rushing attempts for Pavia.
22.
I was going to say 20, so you think 22.
Yeah,
wow.
They're going to give them a heavy dose, and somebody better be spying and doing their damn job.
Yep.
Thank you, Brandon.
Well, Jeff. Roll Tide.
Back out to the phone lines we go. Good morning. You're on the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Who's this?
Brody.
How you doing,
What's
Brody?
up, Brody?
Hi. Hey, I'm just calling in and say I really like the show, guys. I thought, especially in the fourth quarter, our defense, they gave up some big runs and stuff. But I think when Bama needed to stop, the defense got to stop. And I think that, especially against Florida State, and we've struggled on that. And I think honestly, I'm happy we won, but I'm also really mad that our offense just sputtered around the second half of the game,
I think that's more credit to what Georgia adjusted to defensively more
Kirby
than anything.
Is a master.
Yeah,
and I knew it was far from over at halftime.
But I understand your point, Brody. I do.
I understand your point, but much respect to Georgia. And the thing about Alabama is, and it would have changed the game if Georgia had caught the touchdown, but it would have still only been a 1-point game if Alabama made a field goal. You can't jerk a 43-yard field goal. You miss too many more of those, hit the bench and go and give somebody else a shot, and then go to the transfer portal after the season. We're not handling this is Division I big boy ball. We're not having 43-yard field goals jerked 10 yards wide. Okay, he's been all right. He's 3 for 5, and the other miss was just wide against Florida State.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, we're not going to have too many more of those. Or, they're going to need to be a new kicker. So, but again, and he's done a good job kicking off. But, and actually, I thought besides the field goal miss, Blake Dowd did a great job punting. Even though they weren't pretty punts,
Yeah.
I thought the special teams was solid.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't give anything away.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then Georgia didn't make any game-changing plays in that aspect of the game.
No, not at all.
It was kind of a wash.
Yeah. I know on that missed kick, man, I haven't seen something that bad since
Andy Papanostis in the
was
national
kicking.
championship game.
I mean, I haven't. I mean,
Not that you remember
got
right
so
off the top of your head.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Brody. Please go ahead.
I mean, I got so used to Will Reichard hitting everything.
Yeah.
And,
Trust me. I cried last week when he made one from 62 for the Vikings.
I mean, I'm 18 years old, so I've only ever known Alabama, winning, and I remember when we sucked at kicking, and then Will Reichard came in. I was like, oh man, it's changing. It's changing.
Well, you were an embryo in the early 90s, bro. It was brutal. Hamp Green. That's all I got to say. Just Google Hamp Green. Sorry if you're listening, Hamp.
All right, Brody. I appreciate the phone call,
Thank
sir.
you for listening, sir.
Thank you.
256-576-4977, the telephone number.
Or Ryan Flugner.
It was another Proctor.
And see, that's the thing. But again, it sounds like I'm not crediting, but it is. I credit Alabama. They did grow up some. They did show some toughness.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got to handle this success. That's the next step. The first step was winning on the road in an environment like this.
Yeah.
But now you've got to handle success.
I think Vanderbilt's better than Georgia,
and you're playing.
And I know that's a probably. And I said as much in the post-game locker room and got a couple of head turns. One of them from Dan Woken. You're welcome.
Oh, my God. Thank God I wasn't there.
I said Vanderbilt's better, and I got a couple of.
Well, he has the football IQ of a brick anyway, so you should have told him, Dan, what tennis tournament is underway that you're not covering? Or is there not a horse race?
Ryder Cup?
Yeah, or something.
Back out to the phone lines we go. Good morning. You're on the Bama Recap Show. Smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Who's this?
This is Jason.
How you doing?
What's up, Jason?
Oh, not much. Hey, why didn't Moulton steal Ty Simpson's wallet last night? He could have got a Heisman Trophy winner's wallet last night. He's so close to him.
Well, he's playing well. He's going to have to play well next Saturday, man.
Oh, yeah. He done great. And I like his defense. Alabama's got to get out and scout on defense.
And they're not. It's not like I'm not saying that this is a Mississippi State defense from last year or what I watched at Arkansas. Holy Toledo, but it's just not good enough. Okay,
yeah,
this is Alabama.
The standard.
They talk about the standard all the time. Yeah. Alabama has got to be sounder on defense than that. And they have good players. They should at least be as good as Georgia right now to me, and they're not because Georgia's coaching on that side of the ball is better than Alabama's.
Right. Yeah, Alabama's got to get aggressive on defense. Just like he said, they're playing on skates.
But yeah, exactly.
6, 7 sacks. Look at Texas A&M. Look at Oklahoma. How many sacks they get in the game?
Yeah.
And Alabama don't have the same talent?
No, look, I just think overall, I do give some of the credit to Georgia and the adjustments they made on both sides of the ball, but I just think Alabama has got to be sounder. I think they've got to be sounder defensively. I do think they have some guys that can rush and can play, but I just think the coaching is subpar. And and if Kalen DeBoer wants to ultimately win a national championship at Alabama, and that's how he's going to be judged, then he's going to have to make some tough decisions. And I know he and Kane Womack are close, but Kane might want to have his agent call in these group of 5 schools, find out if a head coaching job is going to be open.
Yeah. Caleb DeBoer will have some answers for me next week because usually after a big win, they will lay a big egg the next week.
Well, that's what I was talking about, Jason. That's a
but the good news is they have not shown that as much at home. So that's at least something that I feel worth noting of how well they've played inside Bryant-Denny.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all have a good Sunday.
Thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you. 256-576-4977. The telephone number. I guess we at least need to take a break here. And when we come back, I'll try to play a little bit of the locker room report. But then I did not see a whole lot yesterday of a lot of driving. And I did listen to a lot of the Ole Miss LSU game.
I'm telling you, I don't know if you saw my tweet. It's exactly apropos. Trinidad Chambliss MVP.
Yeah.
Austin Simmons, Wally Pipp. Goodbye. I mean, I'm sorry. They lucked into this kid from Ferris State, but he's really good, and he should be the quarterback. And I've criticized Lane a lot for his big game coaching, but I thought he outcoached Kelly, and I thought they had the better team.
Is Sam still the coach in Fayetteville? Right?
I wouldn't. I would have fired him probably right after the game. But
he has left it better than he found it, although he inherited
it's still
a tire fire.
It's like I'll just say this: it's like he inherited a freshman team that was a startup program, and now he's gotten it to JV level.
Yeah,
but it's still bad. I mean,
I'm not sure if he wants to be a head coach right now.
I said the same thing. Once he gets his buyout, I don't know that he'll be
I
in
hate
demand.
saying that because he's such a good guy.
Oh, I know.
But I just this whole NIL and
that's what I said.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'll be in demand as an offensive line coach.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he'll want to do it.
Yeah.
Because of the changing, environment. Now, remember what he said in Atlanta, though. He was talking about how they didn't have the funding. They lost like 7 starters.
That's right.
Centennia.
And then his AD said as much at the look. Anyway, we do need to take a timeout. We got to pay at least
best receiver. One of the starting Kudus, one of the starting offensive linemen for Ole Miss.
That's right. That's right.
They lost like 7 starters. They lost more starters than anyone.
We will be right back.
Log on today. 97.7 ESP.
You'd never know it, but Alabama a winner, 24-21, despite going scoreless in the second half.
I started trying to remember the last time Alabama won a dang game doing that.
Thank you.
Did
I
they come up with it in the press box?
No, we did not get post-game notes. But I don't know the answer to that question, honestly. But what I do have is a locker room report. Yes, I have a locker room report. This is well-earned.
Breaking news before your locker room report.
Oh, boy.
Sam Pittman is fired.
Wow, how about that?
Bobby Petrino, no shock, will be the head football coach.
All right, so that puts a pin in my locker room report because we just went over Arkansas's schedule. Arkansas's schedule looks like this, as they do have a bye this week. So this makes sense of the move happening right now. At Tennessee, hosting Texas A&M. Let me know when you hear a win. Hosting Auburn, hosting Mississippi State. At LSU, at Texas, hosting Missouri. I'm waiting. 2 wins right now for the Hogs. And I hate it for Sam. He's such a likable guy. He definitely left it better than he found it. But that bar, you could easily step over, and the bar was not very high there.
And I know Bobby Petrino won a lot of games when he was there the first time, but let's not forget, they were not good on defense.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
And they're not going to be any good while he's there again.
I mean, ultimately, Arkansas fans got what they wanted. I can even remember that pep rally of trying to keep Bobby after the incident.
Yep.
So they got him back. They got him back.
Yep.
All right, to the locker room report we go. Let's see here. I think this is the fourth down question that I had that I kind of stumbled across and was actually called upon to ask a question. That was one thing. It was so late in the press conference. Yeah, you already transitioned. I don't know if you do this, Drew, but you transition in your mind. Okay, I'm probably going to ask this to Ty, to Kay. And then all of a sudden, I hear and go, Steve. Oh.
Yeah, I think first of all, we got some guys back that help. I think TK in the middle, we really needed him. I thought he played. I don't know if he's played great. I haven't really seen it that close, but he helped. He made a difference. Jam obviously makes a big difference, not just in the run game, but in the protection piece, just confidence in him. So you got your guys, and they're healthier. And then you got a staff that does a great job putting a game plan together, and then you get more reps at it. And so, when you can make those plays look and the checks be on point through a few more days of practice, a few more reps, that's what you get because we had good football players out there.
I'm really glad I played that because we've been critical of the defense. He's talking about more reps. You're in the middle of the season. I don't know. You kind of are what you are at some point. Certainly improvement needs to be made, but how much drastic improvement can we expect out of this defense inside this season?
It's hard. It's very, very difficult, especially when guys like Rusall go down, that's been made official by Matt Zenitz as well. He had surgery. And I quoted the tweet, I don't think he'll be back until postseason. So you can basically forget about having Rusall back. And Latham had some neck surgery this week as well after getting injured in practice. So your top two Wolves are out. Jan Pierre played a bunch of snaps last night. Going to have to keep doing that. You're going to have to get Justin Hill in, who played some, and then Noah Carter, kid from Arizona that they signed and redshirted. You got to get him ready to play. I'm sorry. And you got to be able to teach him some concepts, and you got to be able to get some production out of those guys. And sometimes maybe this will be a Trinidad Chambliss moment. Sometimes somebody gets hurt and somebody else steps up. So we'll see. But this coaching staff has to prove it to me. They proved they could win a big game on the road, but now you got to handle success. They didn't handle it last year very well after they beat Georgia. How are you going to handle it now with Vanderbilt coming to town, who handed you your butt last year and who is even better? And Vanderbilt's out to prove a point.
They'd still be scoring
because people still don't believe in them.
Yeah.
Because they're still saying
they still see the V on the helmet. Yep.
They're not a contender. Well, that's what they're going to be telling them all week. So you better be ready to go against the Vanderbilt Commodores, no question about it.
If anybody has any question, just go look what they did to South Carolina in their own backyard early. And listen, I know that may not be a big mark, especially defensively. South Carolina is not exactly what they were last year, but they still went into an SEC road venue and just had their way with them. Just had their way with the South Carolina Gamecocks.
But I will tell you this, and we had somebody text in and wanted to talk about it, and we do need to hit on it because they're in our state. But we're talking about how poorly I thought Alabama defensively played at times, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, it's another quarterback, another offensive line, and the same struggles for Hugh Freeze.
I did not watch one.
Steve, they had 155 total yards.
When it was 13-3, I had a mental note of, this is about to get out of hand. But it didn't. The defense, I think, is that good without looking at the film for Auburn.
They competed their butts off.
And I was in the press box in Athens when the 4th and 1 happened, when the sack occurred.
Unbelievable that they didn't just try to move the chains.
So my bad. I just told a fib right there. I did see one snap of that game, and it was me standing next to Chris Lowe going 4th and 1, and then Chris turns around and just in time to see the sack.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, they paid big money for Miles Mason or whatever, or Miles whatever the hell his name is. Xavier Chaplin. He was horrible. And then
Texas A&M obviously a winner 16-10.
Yeah.
But I honestly thought it was going to be worse.
Yeah.
I really did. And I think that's more credit. And I do need to look at this game tape. But Auburn's defense is going to keep them in every single game. So I would assume A&M's defense, they looked pretty darn good in that one play. But I did listen to quite a bit of the Ole Miss LSU game. Ole Miss, that was as bad a start as I can ever remember for a Lane Kiffin team at Ole Miss. And they were still leading heading into halftime.
Mason Murphy and Xavier Chaplin, both of them were terrible, I thought, especially Chaplin. They almost benched him.
Tennessee, Mississippi State, this game. You could tell both guys run the same scheme and cut out of the same cloth, and that was that game was on in the press box while the game was starting for Alabama, Georgia.
I mean, I'll give Tennessee credit. I thought they were the better team and would pull it out, but Mississippi State's a ton better. I'll give them a lot of respect.
I'm starting to think later on in the year, Georgia's at Mississippi State. That's not a gimme.
No,
is not a gimme for
not
Georgia.
This year. The Mississippi State's a lot better. And then I know you mentioned Ole Miss. They did start slowly, but I think, Brian Kelly, a.k.a., I've basically said dirt next other brother Daryl. He needs to stop gaslighting people. They're not any good on offense. Okay. They lost Aaron Anderson in the game to a shoulder and knee injury, so he couldn't play. Nussmeier is struggling because the offensive line is struggling.
Yeah.
They cannot run the football at all.
Well,
and they're just that's why they lost the game. Their defense is really good, but they just did not they did not get enough out of their offense to win the football game. And their defense finally got tired, and Chambliss made enough plays, and so did Kejuan Lacey. And Ole Miss is a good football team. And if Florida wants Lane Kiffin, you better come off the wallet.
Well, there is one SEC school now looking for a new head coach. Sam Pittman shown the door here this morning. And is Mark Stoops next?
It doesn't look good, man. They they had a good first quarter in Columbia and then got shellacked the rest of the game. They still look so bad on offense, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so bad. If he has another losing season, they were 4-8 last year, Steve. I've got to believe that maybe Mark Stoops needs to be the defensive coordinator at the University of Alabama.
There's a total of 4 SEC games, 4 conference games this week, and a total of 5 games only. A pretty light week here in week 6 of the SEC. You got Kentucky at Georgia. That's a get better game for Georgia, you would think. Texas at Florida. I don't have a clue. I'm not just saying that. We all had these high expectations for Texas. Florida coming off of a bye, as is Texas. Who knows what that game's going to bring? Mississippi State at Texas A&M. Who would have thought I might have to circle that game as a must-watch? But Mississippi State at Texas A&M is, and that's the first road trip for Mississippi State, by the way.
That'll be an interesting test because they have not played. You know what's so crazy, Steve? I just was thinking about this last night in the wake of Alabama, Georgia. And then it just hit me. And when Kellen DeBoer was talking to the media, and he was like, or it may have been Chris Stewart. Yeah, this is a great first win in the SEC. We're 1-0, and I'm like,
yep.
It feels like the dang season's like in November, and he's saying that's the first SEC game. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Drink.
Well,
this defense.
Well, get ready this week. Vanderbilt at Alabama. If you had to set the line, where would the line be?
Alabama -3.5.
I was thinking like 2.5 in my head, but
it's about the home field advantage. That's about it.
And then Kent State at Oklahoma, but
break.
That's more of a tune-up there. But keep in mind, John Mateer is out there going to Michael Hawkins there in that game.
And just think about how big a loss that was for Syracuse. Good, merciful heavens, where they lost their quarterback, and then Duke comes in there and beats them 38-3.
Duke.
Oh, my God.
Duke. And I did hear from a couple of Georgia reporters about how Georgia Tech stole a win. Now, I don't know. I did not see the end of this game.
I saw it. I was turning the channel.
Yeah. Is it accurate that the referees handed over a win?
They missed a stupid, an offsides penalty that would have given Wake Forest.
I heard the word egregious.
Offensively, yeah, it was bad. And then because of that, though, Wake had to punt. And when they had to punt, Georgia Tech drove down and kicked a field goal to get it into overtime. And then, as we know, Tech kicked the field. Tech scored a touchdown. Pardon me. Mm-hmm. Tech scored a touchdown, and then so did and then on the first play, Wake Forest ripped off a run for a TD.
Yep.
And then Jake Dickert, decides to go for 2, and it was blown up. Yep. It was just completely blown up. I don't know that I would have done that. I probably would have just kicked it and kept playing. But he decided to go for the win on his home field. But the missed offsides was egregious. It really was. It would have given Wake another play, another chance to move the chains and potentially run out the clock.
Well, one other Bama note as we wind down here this Sunday morning, now Sunday afternoon. It is you got Malzahn on Friday night, and that – you need Alabama fans need to start doing the tomahawk chop, because the more Florida State loses, the worse that loss looks on your resume.
Yeah, now they got the Canes in Tallahassee coming up.
It's a big week.
And that's probably I would have thought game day would have ended up there if Florida State hadn't fallen on their face.
Yep.
But they did. And so once they did, I knew when Alabama beat Georgia, I was like, you know what? They may be headed to Tuscaloosa, for the Vanderbilt game and the rematch, and seeing if Diego can call his own shot.
Well, that's
like Thomas Castellanos
That's
did.
exactly why I'm bringing it up. There was 2 quarterbacks that chirped. One of them backed it up, and the other one's on deck. So
poor Gators, they get arch. No, I'll take the under in that game. 2 good defenses. and two quarterbacks that have not played up to expectations.
Congratulations to Alabama on a big win, and it was a big win for the Crimson Tide, but there is a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, I would give it a B performance, honestly. Maybe
and defensively, what would you say? Just defense?
C minus.
I said C plus to Ryan Fowler.
I'd say C minus. I'd say offensively A minus. Even though I'd have to say a minus because the second half wasn't great, but they won the game. MVP was easily Ty Simpson.
Yes.
I would give a game ball to Bray Hubbard because of creating that turnover.
Ultimately the difference in the game.
Yeah, so, and then, again, I just thought overall, and then I thought Ryan Grubb, for the most part, though, the plan was good. But a good win for Alabama, but now you have to handle Prosperity at home against Vanderbilt next Saturday.
A better Vanderbilt team, a better team. I think Vanderbilt's better than Georgia.
This might be the best team Alabama's played. In fact, I would say it is. I'd take Vanderbilt over Florida State.
I would too. That is going to wrap us up. Head on over to Dreamland BBQ, and if you'd like to save some money, head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the Big Zone deals and enjoy $50 of Dreamland BBQ for just $25. I've done it. You need to do it. Head over to our website and enjoy some barbecue. We'll be back next Sunday at 11 o'clock as we'll rehash Alabama Vanderbilt. And yes, Rudy Arman will be in Tuscaloosa, and you will have the locker room report for us.
And I'll be the one getting back in about 1 a.m.
Not 4 a.m. 4:30, 5 o'clock. Good night, everybody.
Robinson, 1st and 10 will be the call. Now, this will be a better run than you probably get credit for. Deron Payne breaks clean into the backfield, and he runs through the arm tackle, the big fella from Alabama, and gets the first down.
Yep. 1st and 10, ball at the 39. Ahead of 8 minutes to play first quarter, 3-0. Penix, quick shot here to the near side. London the catch, turns upfield, got wrapped up. And it was Jacob Martin, the defensive end, that got a hold to Drake London around the waist. But